tournament where my friend John said he found a body in the bushes over there. I ran over there because I'm a healing monk to try and help, but obviously my magic wasn't strong enough because the dude's body was missing a head. So my friend decided to try and use a necromancer spell, which didn't work, which I knew it wouldn't. And apparently we contaminated the crime scene because that spell uses a lot of glitter.
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case!
I gotta tell you, you brightened my day, ma'am. All right?
That's what the last guy said, and then he sued me.
Hello! Oh my God, I'm too big again. All right. Now I'm normal, or at least as close to normal as we're going to be tonight. So, hello everybody. Guys, today is the 3rd of April, which means that day 3 of trial happened today. Well, jury selection, right? We now have 10 members of the jury that have been selected. And you know what? It's an equal amount right now of men and women. Okay? Now, the reason I'm happy about this is that the more women we can get in that jury, the stronger chance I believe Karen Reed has. So, all we're going to know for now is whether they're male or female, but my personal belief is that a diverse jury is going to be good for Karen as of right now. Who is here tonight? We've got Nikki. Hello, my friend. Nikki had a Karen day. Nikki, can I show them your Karen day? Can I? Please tell me in the chat if that's okay. I uploaded it and everything. Hello, Glenn. I'm so happy to see you. I've seen you in other chats. I'm so glad you're here right now. Okay. Mr. Trooper, North Carolina, Highway Patrol, retired. I just want to tell you personally that your interview with Carl Steinbeck was fantastic. I love your accent. It makes me so happy. And thank you so much for your service and for your expertise that you shared with us last night on the Carl Steinbeck show. And for those of you who do not follow Carl Steinbeck, please be sure that at some point tonight you hit that subscribe button, because he's an amazing source. An amazing source. So we're seeing so much blow up on the mainstream media regarding the Karen Reed case, right? We're seeing Court TV get back into their shit about loving to hate her. Okay, Nikki says absolutely. Okay, good. Guys, Nikki had a Karen kind of day, and we're going to share it today. Don't know about that. Women can be catty and brutal with one another. Absolutely. But I'm telling you, oh so positive, that when they hear these text messages from Michael Proctor, I really think we're going to have a lot of strength here. Thank you so much, Christina, for reminding everyone to leave your DNA evidence on that like button. Appreciate it. We have a viewer from South Africa. Hello. And Catastrophe K8 from the Big MA. Yeah, and that's one thing I really appreciated. I absolutely loved what you did. Guys, that was yesterday where NCS HP retired, called in to the Carl Steinbeck show. It was a really, really good episode. So make sure y'all watch that. So with our hello, Sherry. Hey, I'm so glad you're back. I haven't seen you on here in a little bit. So with our blow up on mainstream media, right? There's a lot more sources coming forward. And then there are some that had kind of taken a step back and kind of come back. And there are some that have just kept on going. And it's been great to see. I love all the new voices that have come into this. We have like Miss McKinney Esquire. We have a little bit of voices that we're not so happy to hear from. But one that really made me happy this week, we're going over some roasts tonight, guys. Sherry says, I don't know where I've been. I'm all messed up with the live schedules, Britt. Hey, I get it. I haven't even been on my own schedule, and I have like I think the simplest schedule out of everybody. And Miss Anderson, if women think she's guilty, that's not good. We need to keep Tim Cave type off the jury. 100%. There are some vicious, catty fucks out there. So I'm with you. So I hope that the defense especially is being meticulous. 1000%. If you guys hear booming, there's fireworks going on right outside my house. So please just excuse it. It will be over soon. Did you see Dumb and Dumb at the Canton Select Board meeting tonight? I did not, because I literally just walked in the door from work. Martha, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Awesome. And thank you for watching on X for those of you who are here. So the first roast that I want to go over tonight, before we move on to Captain Auto Delete every 30 days, right? Before we get there, oh yeah, total cheesy banana roast. And it's a good one. Everybody deserves to see it. So before we get there, I want you guys to see the roast from our good friend, Ian Runkle, also known on the internet as Runkle of the Bailey. This, I hope, makes you as happy as it makes me. So, Jennifer Coffindaffer said, I think this was yesterday or 2 days ago, Judge Canone will not allow an FBI agent to testify. This is Mike Easter, guys, whom she is referencing. Judge Canone will not allow an FBI agent to testify regarding his opinions about mistakes made by the Canton Police Department and the Mass State Police. It was a bad plan to ask a retired FBI agent to provide such expertise. The FBI standards and practices are not the same as what the Mass State Police are taught and practice. She repeats a lot of the same words there, doesn't she? Well, in comes Runkle. So retired FBI agents are not qualified to have an opinion on this. Gotcha. Winky face. For those of you who don't know why that's funny, it's because Coffindaffer is a retired FBI. That made me so happy. I loved seeing Runkle come in like that, as if on cue. And then might I just point out as well, she got ratioed pretty bad. If you guys know what that is on Twitter /X. So if you get ratioed, let's say you put out a tweet or an X post and it gets 50 likes. And then someone comments on your tweet, usually with something in the contrary to your opinion, and it gets like twice as many likes or more. So yeah, Runkle outdid her by approximately 1,000% on that. That was glorious. Dickie's here. Melanie Little was wondering how Runkle got through Coffin Doofus's comment wall. I hear you. I hear you. She's a block queen. Sherry has not been blocked. I've been blocked by so many people who I have literally never even spoken to. And I intend to screenshot and print every single block screen and frame them and put them on this wall as a trophy collection. I have been blocked so far by Matt Valentinus, Wendy Murphy, what's her name? It's been so long now that I've pretty much forgotten her. Carpenter. Julie Carpenter. I've been blocked by Julie Carpenter, and I've never even interacted with them. I don't understand. So, Amy, hey, welcome back. Yeah, wasn't that great? Hello, Brit Chick. Glad to see you. All right, guys. So, drum roll. For those of you who are new to the Karen Read case, if anybody needs a very brief overview, Karen Read has been accused of backing her car into her boyfriend, Officer John O'Keefe of the Boston Police Department. There are so many investigative, evidentiary, and due process issues with this case that the reason this case now has so much media attention is that regardless of whether she even did it, why are we here? Why are we still going through a now second trial when not only were there due process violations and incompetence and conflicts of interest and misconduct, and the jurors from the first trial came forward and said they had agreed that they were not guilty on the second-degree murder charge and the fleeing from the scene charge. You have all these things combined. Why are we still here? The reason we are still here, guys, is because of this man. He is at the center of all that is happening in Norfolk County. And this is not just with Karen. This is with Sandra Birchmore. This is with Just En Route. There's a lot happening here. So, this is okay, I'm back. For the past couple weeks, guys, they've been digging up the fiber optics outside of my house. So if I leave, I'll come back. I promise. So we are having roast meatball for dinner tonight. And the chef is Mr. Howie Carr. Served to us via the Boston Herald. Come on, get me out of this. Here we go. Just look at him, guys. Just look at him. Yes, Java time. Canton Police Audit, more info which impeaches Matt McCabe. I need to sift through that audit. I looked at it briefly on my lunch break the other day, and I read the big parts. Let me just say that. Wade Whitaker, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Buckle the buck up is all I'm going to say. You were in for a wild ride. So let's, before we go through this article, get a little bit of background on Michael Morrissey. Most of you are aware that Morrissey has been running unopposed as the Norfolk County District Attorney since 2010. So he's been in office there about 15 years. And since he first got elected, he has not had any opposition in any elections. But what some people likely don't know is that Morrissey has been in some form of public office since 1976. So he has spent 49 years in public office. He began as a state representative. Then he became a state senator. Then he became Norfolk County District Attorney. And in that entire 49 years, do you know how many opponents he has had in his elections, which are held once every 2 years? How many times has he had an opponent? He has only had 4 elections in 49 years, which is almost 100 elections. Wait, no, I'm sorry, backwards. Almost 25 elections after this upcoming year, right? Sorry, I mathed backwards for a second. So why is it that he has only had an opponent that many times? Lizzie, shucks, thank you so much for your 5. Just wanted to say, hey, Britt, thanks for covering Karen Reed. Always. I will be covering Karen Reed until there is not Karen Reed anymore. So, all right. Anthony from Ohio. If you're going to be here, you literally subscribed just so that you could say this. And I just want to say something to you. Do you hope that she becomes a prison inmate because you think she did it? If that's the case, I want you to understand something. There is something in criminal court called procedural due process. Okay? So when there is a crime, an alleged crime, somebody has to undergo being raked over the coals by the government. Now, the government is only allowed to do a certain number of things and a certain way. Now, if you think that after all these procedural due process violations, that I could literally just go off the track for my plan on here for tonight and tell you about all the procedural due process violations, and you think she still needs to sit in prison, that is scary, because that is guaranteed to us by the prosecution. Oh, I'm so sorry, Anthony. My bad. These are new glasses, guys, that I'm still getting used to. Sorry, Anthony. Don't worry about it. Sorry about that. Anywho, yes, I'm with you. I get it now, Lizzie. Thank you. You're a hero. Y'all are great. Okay, so let me tell you about the new glasses I got. I'm going to show them to you. I actually got these so that hopefully it would make my streaming life a little bit easier. I use reading glasses most of the time. These are like progressive. So I am trying to, I don't know if you guys have ever had progressive lenses before. And your first week or two with these glasses, I've been told you just can't see straight, and don't try to go down a flight of stairs. So I am still in my adjustment phase. with these, and I'm so sorry about that, Anthony. My bad. Any hoozles. So, where was I with Morrissey? So he has been now for half a century, just about, in some form of public office with only 4 elections in which he was opposed. What do we think might be causing that? Well, we do know that the police unions have been contributing to his campaigns. We do know that there are other campaign contributions, some that are quite sizable, that come from very questionable sources. So, what I want to know, and I do not have a smoking gun here, so to speak, but is there a pay to play going on? Let's say I'm in law enforcement and I donate $500 a year to my local district attorney's war chest, so to speak. Then I get in trouble for something. There's now a conflict of interest where he now is getting his back scratched because he's keeping my nose clean and I get to keep contributing money to his campaigns, right? This is illegal in a lot of other places. Percent. Oh, yeah, Lizzie, I've had that exact same experience, especially if you are using a mobile device. Whew, the worst. Charles, even though the audit found procedural error, it found no corruption, which is laughable, even given the errors found. That there was no corruption? Yeah, I found that laughable too. But remember, they were only looking at Canton PD. Now, yeah, are there a couple really bad apples that we saw in there? Absolutely. But I feel as a whole that there was more incompetence on the part of Canton PD, and as a whole, there was more corruption on the part of Mass State Police. All right, so without any further ado, let's read Howie Carr's article entitled Norfolk DA Michael Morrissey is about to have a terrible few months. And remember, guys, he does have an opponent this upcoming election. Her name is Juna Perkins. And she said that a huge part of why she decided to run is how all this stuff's getting handled. Ruth Ann's here. The audit is an audit, not an investigation. That is a good point. That's a very, very good point. Brit Chick says, incompetence is just as bad, in my opinion. That's the weakness that leads to the corruption. It absolutely can be. You're absolutely right. I believe that a lot of the incompetence that was displayed was a facade. Because then you have plausible deniability, right? That takes away intent. Intent is what takes, say, a manslaughter charge to a murder charge. So if they can make it look like they're just a bunch of dumbasses. Oh, Noodles Mama, are you a little bit behind? I think she's just a little bit. You claim, oh, I just didn't know. I just didn't know how we was supposed to do it. I don't know any better. I've been on the force for 30 years and I didn't know how to investigate a homicide in the winter time, even though I've literally lived in Massachusetts or in New England my entire life. I just, please. It might be me, Sherry. They're digging up the fiber optics outside and replacing them, so it's probably me, and I'm sorry, but we're gonna get through this together. We're gonna get through this this article here. All right. Morrissey's about to have a terrible few months. By Howie Carr. Thank you, Howie Carr, for bringing this to us today. Your meatball Morrissey, the bust-out district attorney of Norfolk County, and now the nightmare begins again. The second murder trial of Karen Reed is about to start, and you're not just ready to be described in you're just not ready to be described in every news story for the next 2 months as embattled Michael Morrissey. Who else was described as embattled recently? I'll give you a hint.
All right, that's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
You got it right. It was Michael Proctor. So, if you're embattled, you are losing. You're on your way out. You wish you could flee back to Granada. You dream of sailing in the windwards, not worrying about Turtle Boy's fans snapping unflattering photos of you. Not that there are any other kind. This is why I'm bringing this today, guys. Everyone deserves to see this. It seems so long ago now, on the sloop in the Caribbean. It was January, after a blue Christmas, but you were a hand on the Blue Peter, with plenty of Blue Nun on board, and it was nothing but blue skies. But now you're back in Massachusetts, embattled, holed up in the bunker in Canton. You can't even go to the courthouse in Dedham as an observer, because the Free Karen Reed crowd would be throwing stuff at you, and not anything tasty like powdered donuts or chili dogs. Oh, how bad would it have been if he had said glazed donuts? You're embattled, Michael Morrissey. And for the retrial, you've hired yourself yet another special prosecutor, quote unquote. Special prosecutors. You need them for brooming cases, like with Rich Epstein types from Marina Bay. And you need them for framing people, like Karen Reed and Aiden Carney. Whoo! Does anyone feel that burn? I'm feeling it all the way down here in Florida. Holy moly. The worst thing with a special prosecutor is you can never get money from a defendant again. If they're loaded enough that you have to fix the case for them, they're afraid to keep ponying up. If you throw them in jail, forget about it. You can't win for losing. Your meatball Morrissey and your magic number is 70, which is both your age and your belt in inches. Wow, Howie. Wow, Howie. Let's take a look at the chat real quick. Let's check on you guys. Hello, Catherine. Thanks for watching from Arizona. Hey, blah, blah, blah. May the force be with you. Glad to see you today. NR. That's what I was thinking. Zing from Glen Lake. Britcheck says, boom. NR, thank you for watching from Colorado. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Howie is absolutely the bomb Java time. Amen. Let's keep going. I'm just going to read that last line again. Your Meatball Morrissey, and your magic number is 70, which is both your age and your belt in inches. The good news is you've still got $435,335 left in your campaign war chest. Enough to run either a very well-funded race for re-election or, more likely, to buy 1,649 cases of Captain Morgan's spiced rum to stock on your sleek yacht, the Class Action. You study your monthly campaign receipts, and you sadly note that your best ever annual August birthday fundraiser in 2021, you had 420 contributors who ponied up almost $70,000. Wow. Okay, so let's math that really quickly. 70K divided by 420 donors. Everybody contributed 165 bucks. That's still a pretty good fundraiser. Last year, at the same event, your take plummeted to $19,000 from fewer than 140 people. That's not good. That's not good. Hey, thanks so much for watching. And thank you, Mazda, for sharing. I appreciate it. Sure, a lot of the old gang is gone. Frank Bellotti, Bill Delahunt, Bob, what is it, Pompeo? Was it supposed to be Pompeo? I don't know that name. But it's more than that. You're Michael Morrissey, and you are political poison now. It's been longer since you saw a friendly face on the street than since you last glimpsed your toes. And that's a very long time indeed. What's up, Brian? I'm so glad you're here watching. Brian, Mazza, if you guys want to pop in, let me know. I'll send you guys a link. We're reading the Howie Carr Morrissey roast. If you'd like to come in. Oh, Mazza, I know you're taking a break, so but yeah, Brian, if you want to pop in, please feel free. I'm going to go ahead and just send you a link now. You can click it or you can just not. Invite. I'm starting to get faster at this, and I'm so proud of myself. I might not win the best, but I might get most improved. There we go. Yeah, Brian, if you'd like to come in, you're more than welcome. We're just making fun of Morrissey and laughing in awe of Howie Carr's humor. Oh, shucks, Nikki. Yes, 100%, Charles. It's so refreshing to see journalists hold feet to the flame of those positions of power. And guys, you know what? We're starting to see more journalists and more people get indicted for their speech. I don't know if you saw this, but the Fulton County District Attorney, if you guys watched the YSL shit show, oh my God. That was embarrassing too. I mean, that was one trial that made me wonder how American our justice system even is anymore. So, Young Thug, after accepting whatever deal he got, he was going to go on probation for a little bit and jail time. Like he took a plea, right? Went in for time already served. He posted on Twitter criticizing the DA's office, and they filed a motion to revoke his probation. Oh, guys, please welcome to the stage the ever so generous, hardworking, fantastic, all about Karen, all about Enrique Delgado Garcia, all about exposing the corruption in Massachusetts, Brian LTL. What's up,
Good
man?
evening. How are you?
Hey, I am. How are you?
I'm well. I'm at home, so I I'm in like my night clothes, so I'm not gonna jump on camera, but I'll hang out for a little bit
Hakuna,
here.
well, Hakuna Matata. I'm glad you could pop in. I could not stop laughing reading this article, and because it's subscription only, I just felt it needed to be brought to the world.
hmm Yeah, Howie
um,
Carr is a very amazing way of writing, and I always love his point of view and the way that he gets things across. And as we know, Aiden is a very big contributor of the show. I'm sure he will be through the trial. So if you can get on, excuse me, if you can get on Rumble and follow Howie and be able to listen to Aiden on there during the trial. He's really great.
yes, I've seen him on there a couple times. Have
Mhm.
you already read this particular article?
No, I haven't. I've been kind of out of the loop with everything because I've been working a lot lately. I just
Mhm.
finally started getting through the whole Canton audit, and obviously they had a committee meeting tonight, which was very interesting. I had Todd McGee on my channel last night, and we ran through just the portions of the John O'Keefe investigation. And in my opinion, Five Stones, I think they majorly failed in this audit. I think I
Mhm.
can feel there's a sense of biasness there. I know Aiden talked a lot about this on his channel the other night. Especially with you know Canton PD, and even Five Stones is blaming quote unquote influencers for all of
Yes,
these problems that have happened in Canton. And I think that's a really, and I don't want to, can I swear on your show?
it is encouraged.
Okay. I think it's a really chicken shit way of the Canton PD and the town of Canton to, push all their powers of authority aside in this case and not take responsibility for what happened. If you read through that audit, the most major fail, and even it's funny, it's like Five Stone call shit out and they
Mhm.
gaslight, but then they pull shit back. The
Yeah,
biggest major fuck up and fail in that investigation was, and Five Stone even said it's so weird. They're like, this is, I mean, Todd and I went through this, that they say, they failed in evidence collection. They should have taken photos of John's body before he was picked up by rescue. They should have had
mhm,
the proper equipment on scene to do evidence collection. But yet, at the very end of it, they say, well, they really did everything they could, given the circumstances. That's bullshit. You
yeah,
can't have it both ways.
no, yeah, sword and shield, as Melanie Little
Yeah.
likes to say. And
Yeah.
I haven't sifted through the whole audit word for word. I
hmm
I work on a normal week 50 hours,
Yeah.
and this has not even been a normal week. This has been an extra week. So I read some of the main points, but I did not even see anything indicating that they should have asked the Albert family if they could go in the house.
Exactly. Exactly. And then they say at the end of it that, oh, by all standards, Canton Police Department essentially followed all procedures and are cleared of any wrongdoings in this investigation. Yeah, and it was very good. And then you look at Sandra Birchmore, they just said the same thing. How can you
Yes.
say that the Canton Police Department acted in good faith and did everything in that case that is, that was up to their policy and standards when they literally failed, and they had to have they had to have the feds come in, take
Mhm.
charge of that case. The family paid for an independent autopsy aside from the first autopsy. Oh, and then
Yep.
come to find out, guess what? She was strangled to death.
Oh, they literally watched security footage of
Yeah.
Farwell leaving
Yes.
Birchmore's apartment
Yes.
immediately after the final motion on her phone. And you
Yep.
you still mean to tell me what did you think happened? Do you think he sat there and watched
Yeah.
her off herself? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
that was not a self-checkout in any way, shape, or form, and you or I can figure that out.
Yeah.
And what makes me so sad is I know how expensive an autopsy can be,
Hmm.
um, just to get a regular, like, state level one done, and the family of Sandra Birchmore spent years probably saving money,
Yeah.
and they hired Michael Bodden,
Dr.
who
Bowden. Yeah.
is renowned to say the least,
The best.
because they probably thought this is the only way we will get someone to listen, right?
Yep.
We need a big voice to say
Mm.
that Massachusetts got this wrong.
Yep. Yeah. There's Mizzy in the chat. I mean, she knows so much about it, and she does such a
I see
great
that.
job.
Hello,
She
Mizzy.
says when I hear her name, I is mentioned, I appear. Yeah, and we're gonna have Mizzy on the show, on my show, pretty soon. We're gonna go over that portion of the audit. I'd love to hear her thoughts on it. But it's disgusting, and
Mhm.
then what? Garino hiding the 30,000 text messages back and forth between Sandra and Farwell. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
insane. It's
I
insane. But I'm sorry to throw off your flow here. I know you were on the
Oh,
article.
no, there's no flow. It's all chaos. That's the structure here. So I'm still just figuring out how to press the right buttons around here. Mizzy, thank you so much for being here. We're always glad to have you. And then, also, I don't know how much you know about the case of Just en route,
Mhm,
but that's another case that
mhm,
was spearheaded by Morrissey, just to kind of
mhm.
get back to him.
Yeah.
And, the first thing that stood out to me when I first started hearing Jen's story was that you have 7 or 8 LEOs over several different departments, and all of them were cleared in less than 30 days.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
that is wild. Usually,
Crazy.
if an officer discharges a weapon, it's much longer than 30 days just for one officer,
Right.
to be found that it's, in any way a justified discharge of your weapon. So,
Right.
that really stuck out to me too. And Morrissey is the one who's insisting that Karen continue to go through this. He's the one who silenced, this entire screw up with Sandra Birchmore.
Yeah.
So I love seeing journalists, especially considering now with what's happened to Turtle Boy, the rot is starting to spread outside of Massachusetts too. I Right when you were popping in, I was mentioning that Young Thug, that from the YSL RICO
Yeah.
trial, they tried to revoke his probation based off of a critical post he made on Twitter about the Fulton County DA.
I guess free speech isn't free anymore.
Right, right. And that's why I've been asked 100 times by people, you don't live in Massachusetts, why are you doing this? Well, because if it's allowed to happen anywhere, then it will begin to be allowed everywhere.
Of
This is
course.
not just about Massachusetts. Last I checked, we were all Americans.
Yeah, and the government shouldn't run you. You should run your government. And I think
Exactly.
that's the biggest thing here. And I know there's a lot, and I don't want to get political here because they can get really ugly. I'm all for small government. I don't want to be told
Mhm.
what to do. I'm a free speech First Amendment guy. I'm a Second Amendment guy. I follow the Constitution. I live by the Constitution.
Yes.
They spawned that many, many, many years ago to fight back against tyranny. And I think just the funniest thing, and I always talk about this all the time, is that one of the greatest events that ever happened in history happened in Boston, Massachusetts, with the Boston Tea Party, and that was to
Mhm.
kick back against taxation and tell England that we're not gonna play your game. We want to be free, and we want to be free of these taxes, and
Yeah.
ultimately spawned the war, and here we are. And I just find it funny that you know, was probably over 250 years ago. We did that to fight against tyranny, but we've become this government state here in Massachusetts. It's just, it's
Hmm.
crazy. It's really crazy. Those
I
higher
think next
power.
year will be 250. Yeah.
Yeah, 250. I think it's 250 or 251 last time I looked, but
76. So yeah, 250 years next year.
50 years ago, it's crazy. 250
Hmm.
years ago, and then, but we've evolved back into a major government state here.
Yes.
It's crazy.
We
And
really have. And I when I see what's going on here, I don't know if you've ever heard of boiling a frog, but
mhm,
they always say if you take a pot of boiling water and you throw a frog into it, the frog is going to notice right away that this is not a safe environment for it and jump right out of the pot.
jump out.
But
Yeah,
if you put the frog in a pot of water that's lukewarm and you very slowly turn the temperature up, like, 1
yeah,
degree every 10
not
minutes,
gonna notice
the
it.
correct. And
Yeah,
so I think this is something that has been stewing, and slowly increasing over a period of time, which, now that the people are beginning to open their eyes to these kinds of cases, to see what people are going through with the justice system, to see what's happening in, small government, big government, federal, everything.
mhm,
Now they're looking at this and going, "Oh my God, how deep does this go?" I mean,
yeah,
everywhere I turn, I'm finding something new in Massachusetts.
yeah,
Like, everywhere I turn, I'm finding something that's like, wow, how this person's been in office for this long, and everybody's just been okay with it. But
yeah. If
I'm
anybody wants
I'm
to
happy to
really
see people waking up.
Yeah, if anybody really wants to get a feel of how the government here is in the state of Massachusetts, just watch the movie Chappaquoddick. That'll get you everything that you need to know about Massachusetts. When they hid Ted Kennedy from when he literally was drinking and driving, flipped his car I think it was a pond down in Cape Cod or into the ocean, and left that girl there to die. And then they literally government entities came in and hid the fact and got him off, uh, got him away from that situation. And he went on to have a
Oh,
crazy long career for like 40 years, even though they knew this guy was a murderer. So,
oh my word.
Chappaquoddick, yep.
Okay. Yep. I'm gonna
You've
look
got to
that up.
watch. If you
I'm
haven't seen
bringing
that
this up
movie,
on
Britt,
this.
you need to watch it.
Haven't seen it. Yeah,
It's
I'm leaving this
insane.
up on the screen for a while for everybody who hasn't heard of it and you want to watch it. You heard it here, guys, from Brian LTL.
You've got to watch it. It will definitely gauge your interest, and you'll be like, "Oh my god."
Another that really opened my eyes, that you might appreciate, Brian, if you haven't seen it. I
Mhm.
watched recently a docuseries on the Sean Ellis case from
Okay.
1993.
Mhm.
It's on Netflix. It's called Trial 4.
Okay.
And I did some other independent research just to see if I could look at it both sides, but this guy went through exactly what Karen's going through now.
Hmm.
They planted evidence. He was a convenient kind of outsider. A lot of what was behind what happened in his case was because the investigators were dirty. They wanted it to be
Mhm.
open and shut as quickly as possible before too much started getting dug up. Um, and Sean Ellis served over 20 years
Wow.
wrongfully. And before he even got convicted, do you know how many times he went through a trial?
Probably like 4 or 5 times.
He
Yeah,
went through 3.
that's
He
crazy.
they tried him twice and had a hung jury both times. They tried him a third time, and with every single case, one after the other, they were taking away evidence
Hmm.
because the jury had too many questions about the evidence the Commonwealth had. So by the
Mhm.
time they made it to the 3rd trial, they only had 2 or 3 facts that he was at that place that night and, you know, maybe a couple of witnesses, but that was basically it. And that's what it took. It was
Wow.
so sad. And the system is really designed to prevent itself from correcting its own mistakes.
Mhm.
So in order for them to even hear his case at the SJC, the defense attorney ended up having to prove that not just the investigators were dirty, because the SJC knew that and it wasn't enough for them. They had to prove that the victim also was dirty and was
Jeez.
in cahoots with the other
Oh my
investigators
God.
to prevent the victim's phone or the victim's home from being searched. They needed to make it look like a random robbery homicide rather
Wow.
than anything that could have been personal. So
Wow.
it's really good. Trial 4.
Hmm.
Make sure you watch
I'll have to
that.
check it
We each
out.
have homework. Yeah, we each have homework now.
Yeah, yeah,
Lego,
exactly.
Wyoming. No, I am from Florida.
You don't
I
hear
live
that
in Florida.
Floridian accent? I hear it.
I mean, I'm from North Florida. We are different.
You
I
you
don't
got
know
it a
what
little bit.
I don't know what exactly to call ourselves, but yeah,
Yeah.
I've lived here on and off for 15 years, and I think this is probably gonna be my home forever.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of love for bringing light to cases that have inconsistencies where I think there's a miscarriage of justice.
Mm.
And this is the epitome of that.
This is the worst. This is probably one of the
Mhm.
worst that I've seen, that I've been a
Oh
part
yeah.
of, and you know, I covered a lot of the Idaho 4 case on my channel, and I get a lot
Yeah.
of shit over there because of my stance of what I feel in that case. I think the thing that people have to lose sight of, I think people lose sight of sometimes, is that, there are, and I don't want to say like these special cases like Karen, but there are just those certain cases that are out there where it is so obvious. And I think there is those cases out there that it's so obvious that someone did something. And there is
Yes.
sometimes a lot of people that kind of toe that line in between. And that's fine. You can have your opinion. I have my opinion on cases. A lot of people don't agree with how I see the Idaho 4 case.
Hmm.
I feel that the evidence is strong enough against Brian Koberger that he did it. It
Hmm.
it leads me to believe that when I look and analyze the evidence. I got a lot of people in my chat that come over and go, "I'm crazy," but I can have that opinion. I can have that opinion. And believe me, I truly believe in, innocent before guilty, and you have your
Yes.
rights. And but I can have my opinion on what I think.
True.
And it's a wild case. It's a very wild case. It is something that, I did, oh gosh, over a year and a half of just straight banging at that case for a year and a half. And I plan on hopefully going out there and getting a couple days out at, in and around the courthouse. So I'm gonna be planning that trip soon. And
You
I'll
should.
continue. Yeah, I'm gonna continue with that case, if and when Karen's case comes to some type of conclusion. So
Well, it's full court press with Karen now.
yeah,
I'm planning a trip up there myself in early May.
nice.
I'll be showing my support for Karen
Yeah.
too. So it's all planned. Hey Jen, I'm glad to see you. Yes, there are too many innocent people in jail. And Brian, I'm with you. There, you know, there are people who, yeah, the evidence is still concrete, but what's really important here, especially with Karen, and this is one thing that I've always told. I don't I don't want to call them trolls, but the
Mm,
people who are foaming at the mouth to see Karen rot in prison,
mm,
um, is that one of the foundational theories of Western criminal justice is the Blackstone ratio, which is that it's better that, the number changes over the course of hundreds of years, but it's better that 10, 50, 100 guilty men walk than that one innocent person sits in jail, right?
mhm,
Which is why we have procedural due process, which is why we have the assumption of innocence before proving beyond a reasonable doubt that someone
Right.
is guilty. So almost all Western criminal justice is based upon that. And so when I see people say, I don't care, she did it,
Hmm.
the way I see it is, okay, if you really think that Karen is factually guilty, why aren't you even more upset with Mike Morrissey, with the Mass State Police, and with Canton PD than the Free Karen Reed crowd is? Because by your rationale, they are the ones who are failing John O'Keefe. I mean, we think so, but
Mhm.
by your rationale, they're letting a guilty person walk.
Right. Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling. I hate it. It scares me to see so many people um just not even caring that there are all these civil rights violations, that there are all these due process violations, all these evidentiary issues, and they don't care about a bit of it.
Yeah, because I think the bottom line with those people is they don't look to correct what's wrong in our justice system, where this case potentially has a long-term effect of changing laws. And I mean, it will be in a case review and it'll get quoted in cases now,
Yeah,
whatever the conclusion is in this case. But I think that people like that just ignore all of that, where this possibly could, like Karen Reed said in that part 2 video with Ted Daniel inside the SUV. I love that interview. If people haven't watched that, you need
yes.
to see it. And she said,
Mhm.
I realized in my life, I've realized my purpose. It wasn't working at Fidelity. It wasn't, doing the certain things that I was doing, but this is my purpose. And that's a hell of a way to accept all of this. But she said, I think she goes on to kind of say, like, things are going to change no matter what. Like, this is going to open a lot of eyes and maybe hopefully start changing some ways that things are done here in Massachusetts. Um, I truly believe this time around that jury is going to see this for the bullshit that this is and what Karen has gone through, and acquit her, and
Mhm.
um, and she'll walk out of that courtroom a free woman in 2025. I truly believe that.
I I'm with you, Brian. I believe the same. And one way or another, this case is going to set some kind of precedence.
Mm,
Um, but what really I think s- supports both our beliefs is that Hank still hasn't presented a motion or any evidence, at least that
I think Britt froze.
over what I saw from Hank over the past few months is a bunch of trying to stop the defense.
Of course.
A bunch of stopping the
Where's due
defense attorneys.
process?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
David Yannetti stood up and said, we have the prosecutor, Hank Brennan, that has stood up here dozens
mhm,
of times and said that Karen Reed deserves due process. She deserves her right to a fair trial. And David says, all you have done is put motions in to suppress discovery and
yeah,
certain legal requirements here in this case. That's all you've done. I mean, he's a monkey
yeah,
wrench. That's all he is. He's there to throw a billion monkey wrenches and throw shit against the wall and see what's going to
mhm,
stick. He knows he's up against it, because when these experts get on the stand, he's fucked. And look at what the ruling by Bev the other day just came down
ah,
again. It's trial 1.0 right over again. We're not
mhm,
allowed to say that ARCA was independently hired by the feds. They fucking know that's the case.
yep.
That is the case, and
That's
they're
yeah.
afraid of it. So
Not
guess
allowed to
what?
bring up Colin, not allowed to it, you know, that proved it to me.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest
That
with you. I think, and I've said this 1,000 times on my channel, and maybe people are going to disagree with me, but the way that I'm going into 2.0 is, and I talk about this all the time, and people are probably getting sick of hearing me talk about it. Go watch the Netflix documentary, the most recent one about O.J. Simpson. And the defense team got together and said, what do we got here? Well, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of video of them, that CERT team collecting evidence. Let's look at that video. Let's look at those thousands of hours of video. Oh, they weren't wearing gloves? Oh, you weren't putting it in properly stored, sealed containers? Oh, you mishandled this. You didn't take photographs here. I think that's what the defense has to hard press this time around. How botched this investigation is. And it even came out in the Canton audit just recently. It just recently came out of how fucked up that was. Use that and show the jury, look, you know, this is the direction of it, folks. They can't even get it right. You know, and I think that's where they need to go. I think Britt froze again.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Yeah,
They're
that's
digging up the fiber optics outside of my house. So
Oh,
but I would use certain bullets from that police audit as a script for my cross-examination of Gallagher, of you know, every Tweedledee and Tweedledum that went out there and thought that solo
Sarif,
cups and stop
all
and
of them.
shop bags were a good idea.
Yep. And I would hammer that home. You know, you couldn't even you didn't even have policy and procedure. You weren't even practicing good policy and procedure. You didn't even take photographs of Officer O'Keefe before he was picked up by rescue. That's the most critical point. And Todd talked about it on my channel yesterday when we were going through the audit. I mean, that's the most critical point is, you know, getting there on scene and documenting everything right away, putting up crime scene tape, having an officer there to guard the crime scene and not have everybody walk through it. For crow's sake, when you watch them with the leaf blower, there were fucking footprints all through that entire crime scene. That is a point that this defense needs to hammer home. You have contaminated the crime scene.
Yep.
It's done. It's botched. So
from that point forward, nothing they did would have really told us anything.
Exactly.
Another huge point for me, and this is what brought me from, this is a really interesting case. I wonder if she did it to, there's no way Karen did this. This was a frame job. Was that Proctor failed to take photos, like you mentioned, of Karen's vehicle when he picked it up, and then proceeded to lie in his report about what time that vehicle was seized. As soon as I saw that, that's when I knew that there was no way this was Karen. Because
and then you had Barrows. Then you had Barrows that stepped in and said it was cracked. It wasn't shattered.
Yes. My hope for
and listen, he has no skin in the game. He's a completely different department. He's in Dighton. He doesn't care what the Mass State Police believe or what Canton believes. He's just going to tell it like it is. He has no skin in the game.
1000%. My hope is that the defense shows him that one picture that we've seen all over the internet of that rear passenger side taillight in the Sally Port and says, did it look like this?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's going to go, nope. He's going to go, no,
Two
it
times
didn't.
the word nope showed us all we needed to know. Once in a text from Proctor, and now the second time from Barrows.
And then it just all adds up, like you were saying, Britt. Like, you know, Proctor not taking proper photos, not doing proper reports, but then he's back wherever he was at the time, texting his buddies, going, "She's gonna fucking go down." I mean, he's already fabricating everything at that point. 16 hours later, when he's talking to his buddies and his superiors, she's gonna go down. You know, we're gonna pin it on the girl. I mean, it was already in his head.
It was. So I hope that we see a diverse jury, because what I remember from, Turtle Boy reporting on the jurors' reactions to hearing those texts from Proctor being read out loud was that the women, especially, had their jaws on the floor, and
Mhm.
that, they were the ones who were showing visible reactions to all
Mhm.
that. So hopefully we see a lot of diversity here. What are you sharing? What are you sharing?
Check this out. I caught this today. So here's a combined witness list of the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. And it's not particular this page, but I wanted to highlight this here. Did you notice this? Number 66, keeper of the records for Ring.
For Ring.
So is
Ah,
it a
is
Commonwealth or is it a defense witness? And what are they going to show? Did they dig video up?
from O'Keefe's home.
Could be
That's
that.
what I
Or how about
imagine.
the guy across the street that said, I didn't record anything. I didn't have
Yeah.
anything."
Kelleher, you're right.
So that would be
And
interesting.
he's the one who we got the solo cups from.
Yes.
I mean, and Kelleher, was he the acting deputy
He was a
lieutenant at the
deputy. Yeah.
time?
Deputy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my word. Like,
I've walked that road a million times. I've seen that camera a million times. I know the view that it would have. And this is why I think that why this video of that mysteriously disappeared, because it has a clear view to 34 Fairview, and it would show them dragging John O'Keefe out and leaving him there on the lawn.
mhm.
Because if Karen truly killed John, I'm telling you, day one, Karen Reed 1.0. Adam Lally would just need to stand up in his opening statement and say, Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe and left. Played the video, and guess what? The trial's over.
It is. It is. She wouldn't have gone to trial.
Yeah, she would have been.
She would have rolled over on a plea like they were all
Yeah.
hoping for.
So I'm telling you right there, that is another thing that leads me to believe that this is all botched and Karen didn't do this. Because why wouldn't all come on. The camera that gets literally the viewer 34 Fairview that whole
Yeah.
entire night doesn't record. Give me a break.
Yeah. And
You
that
know?
library video, that would have been
Yes.
the one image that we would have had between the alleged incident and when she backed her car into John's SUV.
100%. 100%.
That's the one time we would have seen the
Yeah.
condition of that
Yeah.
taillight at the exact
Yeah.
pinnacle of the time in question.
And then ironically, that when it gets to Canton PD, when they're actually quote unquote processing the car and they're all around the taillight that time, that 40 minutes of that video just disappears.
Oh,
I mean, come on.
yeah. Don't even get me started on that Sally Port video. I mean,
It's just insane.
it is. And this is unheard of. Unheard of. I
Hmm.
wanted to throw up when I first heard Hank say, "Oh, we found all the rest of the Sally Port footage. It's on some retired
Yeah,
cop's personal hard drive. Are
in
you
a cloud
shitting me?"
somewhere. Yeah.
So
But
you
here's the
mean to
thing. Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, do you mean to tell me that you had Karen put 12 grand into flying an expert up there on,
Hmm.
mostly a promise? And oh, by the way, Colleen Crawford knew
Mm-hmm.
where that was all
Mm-hmm.
along. You cannot
Mm-hmm.
convince me otherwise. She knew about the hard drive on that guy's computer too. But she spent all that money to have that guy fly up there. And this whole time, it was all there. It was all together.
Well, how about this? And then if you read through the audit, guess what? That full, whatever it was, how many hours of footage it was, it actually was cut up into 6 parts. They
Yep, because
revealed
they
that in the
couldn't download
audit
it all together.
because it was a
It
large file.
Yep.
And how do you
Yep.
know? Like, and this is the scary thing about this. Even if they go, well, we have the original video. How do you even know it's the original video at this time because it's been cut up so many freaking times? You'll
Mhm.
never, ever, ever, ever see that original video ever. It's
No,
gone. It's all cut
it
up.
doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Once
it's
it's
gone.
cut, and I found that interesting about Aiden's case too, with this security camera that he talked to, and they said, "Oh, we combined the two videos, the audio from the two videos, combined them and morphed them into one video and cleaned up the audio."
It's
Well,
funny.
now it's not
Yeah,
the original footage anymore.
it's not the original footage anymore. Which is interesting because I don't know if you saw today, but the fake victim has a lot of issues that's going on, and she has an
Oh.
arraignment on April 30th. And guess what? Ironically enough, her arraignment is going to happen 2 streets up from where I live. So I'm definitely going that day.
Um, that did you were you at that hearing in which she was trying to renew her stay away order?
No, I wasn't at that one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
If you want to see some beautiful writing, Jason Broyles, not
Oh, I
Haley
love him.
Walbrook.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
he
Jason.
was in the courtroom and
Yeah.
live tweeting, and he described when Mary Bagwell, that's the woman who
Mhm.
Gaetani allegedly threatened. She came in and she changed the entire tone of that courtroom.
Mm.
Um, and that was just the way that Jason told the story and then described Aiden being up on the stand and being questioned by the fake victim herself.
Mm.
um,
I mean, she
you know,
literally threatened to kill someone. Like,
yeah,
that's pretty serious
and their
charge.
children. And their children. And it was all recorded on Mary Bagwell's phone too.
Oh
And
god.
Jason actually helped with this. I got to give him credit here because Gaetani tried to rebut that evidence by saying, "Well, I didn't know I was being recorded at the time, so it's not admissible." Well, that is not the case. So the police was not going to admit it. Um, when I say admit it, I mean allow it in. Um,
Mhm.
and Jason ended up looking up that new iOS system.
Uh-huh.
And here's the thing. There's a new system that allows you to record a call from within the call on an
Mhm.
iPhone.
Oh,
When you
interesting.
hit the button, it says in an
Oh,
automated voice,
yes.
we're starting to record now.
To
If you do
record you
not
live,
wish to
right.
be recorded, hang up now.
Hang up. Yeah.
And then it starts recording you.
Yeah,
Well,
I know about that feature now.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
problem with it is the recording doesn't begin until after the warning message starts.
Mm.
So they ended up having to go to a little bit of trouble to prove, hey, no, actually, she knew. She knew she
Yeah.
was being recorded because it was using this system, and here's what it does. But yeah, it changed a lot for Aiden. I'm glad that the Alberts aren't going to be able to use her now to, push him wherever they want to push him
Right.
to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's just, it's just these, I don't know. I just from what I've heard, I mean, she's done this a million times to a million of the guys that she's
yep,
dated, and this is kind of her
yep,
MO with people. And hopefully this just exposes her now, and good people stay away from her. Just she's
yeah,
trouble. She's got
absolutely
that trouble tag on her. Just stay away from her. She's no good.
dangerous. Nicole
Dangerous.
RM, I want to answer your question. Where
Yeah.
where were all the body cams the cops were supposed to wear? So evidently there was just no room in the big fat budget of Canton
Yeah.
for there to be body cams. But our good friend from North Carolina, who is a retired state trooper, he said that there are federal grants just waiting for a phone call from departments that allow like 50, 60 body cameras at a time. They have them just in a warehouse, and all it takes is a phone call, and they'll send, several dozen dash cams, several dozen body cams for you to wear. And you know, what are you hiding if you don't want to protect yourself as a law enforcement officer with a body cam? Because you got to remember, there are people out there who will pull a fake victim and accuse you as a law enforcement officer of illegal search and seizure or assault, or some type of abuse of power, right, where it didn't really happen. All you need to protect yourself from litigation or from an IA investigation, you can put all that to bed by having a body cam, and you just put that up there and say, see, no, I didn't. And the Canton PD can get them for free.
Yeah, a lot of things I'm sure are going to change. And, I was just asking Todd about this last night. It would be very good if these departments or government agencies, now hear me out, would put some money aside in their budgets to do these types of things every maybe 3 to 5 years, to be transparent with their town or their city. But the reason they won't do it is because there's so much corruption and backhand deals that go on in our government agencies, and especially through our police departments and our jail systems and courthouses. And it would never happen, because you would find so much shit that's so illegal and so wrong, not following policies, procedures, and laws. That's why they won't do it. And that's why, I like channels like Long Island Auditor. Sean is great. He goes in and audits his police stations and government buildings, and teaches them, like, these are things that I'm allowed to do, and these are things that you're not allowed to do according to the law. And I love that stuff.
I think if you or I can get audited over a $600 transaction, then we should be able to know. And I mean, we're paying these people.
They're public servants. I mean, they serve us. Our tax dollars pay them.
Nicole, thank you so much for becoming a new member. You now have access to some awesome possum emojis, like our Bettero bat signal. You can call for Bettero anytime. And we also have a Tell the Tooth as a salute to Jennifer McCabe that you can use anytime you want. We don't even have to be talking about Jen McCabe. You can just use it because you feel like it. It is.
So what's the over under that she comes into court and has that thing fixed now?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like it would be so easy. Just have it yanked out and then get, the fake
An
one
implant.
put in or whatever. For somebody so vain, like for somebody who cares so much about, I mean, the whole time I watched her on the stand, what I saw in my mind's eye was her looking at the jury and saying, and remember, in 1994, I was voted best looking in the whole high school.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why does somebody with that approach just neglect something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly. Well, Britt,
what can you do?
it's getting late. I'm gonna head off here. Get some
it's
rest.
an hour later for you, isn't it?
Yeah, so I appreciate you having me come on and hang out and talk some Karen Reed with you. So
Well, mi casa es su casa. You are welcome here anytime. You just tell me and you've got a link.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the audience for watching tonight. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And click that members only down there. You can get all these fun emojis and play along in the chat. So, again, thanks for having me again.
It's only
And I
content
look
too.
forward to doing this again.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I hope you have a great night. Maybe we can get up and hang out while I'm up there. And again, anytime you want to come back, just let me know.
Yeah, we'll definitely hang out. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it.
Good night, everybody.
Anywho, man, Brian is somebody who, like, I can just tell has a very strong heart. And I hope that other people see that too. Amy, so Florida, most of Florida is in Eastern time. Northwest Florida, the Panhandle, anywhere west of Tallahassee is Central Time Zone. So, yes, we are going to read the rest of the article. I didn't want to start over for Brian because he hadn't read it or anything. So, oh my God, Sharon, that's so funny. Jen bit John, her tooth is on the lawn. That's pretty good. All right, so let me back up just a little bit. I'm going to go back to the belt thing. Aha. Okay. Your meatball Morrissey and your magic number is 70, which is both your age and your belt in inches. The good news is you've still got 435,335 left in your campaign war chest, enough to run either a very well-funded race for re-election or, more likely, to buy 1,649 cases of Captain Morgan's spiced rum to stock on your sleek yacht, the Class Action. You study your monthly campaign receipts and you sadly note that your best ever annual August birthday fundraiser in 2021, you had 420 contributors who ponied up almost 70K. Last year, at the same event, your take plummeted to $19,000 from fewer than 140 people. Sure, a lot of the old gang is gone. Frank Bellotti, Bill Delahunt, Bob Popeo, but it's more than that. You're Michael Morrissey and your political poison now. It's been longer since you saw a friendly face on the street than since you last glimpsed your toes. And that's been a very long time indeed. Yes, it was. Technogener, yes. All right, guys, it's a party now. Amy's edible's about to kick in. But if you do run for another term in 2026, you'll be needing a slogan. How about re-elect Morrissey, not just another pretty face? Or Morrissey, a whale of a district attorney. Or re-elect Morrissey, he's tons of fun. Oh, man. Howie, you're doing great. Oh, man. Sharon, thank you so much for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Oh, man. You're a little nervous about this new special prosecutor of yours, Hank Brennan, despite his impeccable credentials as a slobbering devotee of the Bolger Crime Company. But how is Brennan going to handle the jury selection? Does he understand that if by some amazing stroke of luck he draws a potential juror who works, quote unquote, at President's Golf Course, he has to grab the guy because he's a hack And Norfolk County payroll patriots do what you tell them to do, if they know what's good for them, that is. Also, did Brennan follow your instructions to include in the jury questionnaire? Do you ever watch reruns of the Dukes? Stake you for? Never mind. You're Michael Morrissey, and you notice that you just got a text from Michael Proctor. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm going to do it again.
All right, that's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
I can't help myself. And he's calling you Skipper and says now that he's got a lot of time on his hands, he'd like to work this summer on the class action. And he signs it Gilligan. How did you get all these dummies working for you? If that crooked conehead crop had wanted to keep his phony baloney trooper's job, he should have just done the right thing by you every August like Sergeant Buchanan or Lieutenant Tully. And it shows $800 and $500 in donations from them. They donated to Morrissey. Damn. Okay, yep. I'm going to sip my tea. One in the chat if you want a meatball emoji for the members. One's in the chat. Two if you say eh. Okay, we've got a one. Very cool. Okay. Well, Nikki is... Oh. The members have spoken. Okay. Oh. We've got even non-members wanting a meatball emoji. Oh my gosh. All right. I'll make a meatball emoji. We'll think of something funny. Sure. The new colonel gave Tully the bums rush out of Canton, but at least he's not fired. Tully's just riding the pine, like that fat-fed fraud Brian Higgins. So many new faces in the office. One of your ADAs just decided he was in fact a woman. Went over to the probate and family court and changed their name. They will probably have a judgeship from Mora by Memorial Day. And what happened to your hapless Black Dave Traub? Guys, he was the spokesperson for the DA's office, just so you know. Catherine, we were neighbors at one point. We were. So what happened to your hapless Black Dave Traub? Oh, that's right. He bailed too. But at least you picked up a crackerjack replacement off the waiver wire. David Linton, when you spend 40 years at the Attleboro Sun Chronicle, you know you must be something special. You're Meatball Morrissey. And when you offered Linton $75K, he must have thought he'd hit the mega millions. You made him the Elon Musk of Attleboro. Man. Another message just came in from Proctor. And now he's saying, we'll cut lawn for Captain Morgan's. Doesn't Trooper Taylite know you've always had your grass cut by Noel DeBona? He does such a nice job on the hedges. And he's a lifelong Quincy hack, even if you couldn't get him elected Register of Deeds last year. You're Michael Morrissey, and you've taken to second-guessing the career path that you've embarked on in the Hackorama a half-century ago. You make $223,000 a year plus, but you get no respect. You can't even walk the dog anymore without someone pulling up in a car, honking the horn, and hooting at you. Is that Chloe? Has Chloe come back? You know who doesn't have to worry about those kinds of slings and arrows? Arthur Tobin. the court clerk in Quincy for $175,000 a year. Talk about forgotten but not gone. He'll be 95 in May. Forgotten but not gone. Oh, I know, Amy. Yeah, he will. He'll have one eyebrow that's like clear up at his hairline. Promise. Oh my God. Talk about forgotten but not gone. He'll be 95 in May, and nobody even knows who he is anymore because almost everybody who ever voted for him is deader than John O'Keefe and Sandra Birchmore and the underage girlfriends of all those coked up hacks in Marina Bay. Wow, Howie, that was dark, man. That was dark. I love you, dude. That was dark. You think Arthur Tobin is worried about jury selection in the Karen Reed trial this week? Or Sal Paterna, the clerk in Dedham? He's 86 and nobody's on social media looking for separated at birth photos of him and Fatty Arbuncle. Why didn't you become a clerk or a judge like another one of your special prosecutors, Bob Cosgrove? Dun, dun, dun. He's got 2 pensions and he's still got his snout buried in the trough on your payroll. He's a triple dipper. You're Meatball Morrissey. And the rumors are that next there's going to be a new Netflix documentary about you. Working titles: Meatball Morrissey, Double Chins, and Double Jeopardy. I think that's going to have to be the one. Double Chins and Double Jeopardy. Wow. Herald, thank you so much. Yeah, we have fun here. I mean, it can't be all doom and gloom all the time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have our sanity, right? Hey, Jessica. Glad you were here, girl. Tell the tooth, Jen. Tell the tooth. All right, so what was his other idea? Or maybe Lame Brain's Life. Loaded pizzas or just plain loaded? Wow. I'm going with double chins and Double Jeopardy. That's what I'd like to see. Thank you, Howie Carr. Thank you. I'm gonna give him a round of applause. Good night, Christina. Love you guys. Please pray for Christina's family. Her area got hit by some storms pretty badly. And yeah, everyone in her family's okay. There's just some damage, and they went through a pretty frightening night, and she probably didn't get any sleep. So, love you, Christina. Have a great night. Give our love to your folks. Oh, of course, Glenn. Yeah, this was, the Boston Herald is a subscription only newspaper, so everyone needed to see it. Abso-freaking-lutely. Paul, thank you so much for making it. We're glad you came. Everyone's welcome. And that reminds me, guys, if you'd like to support the channel, you can leave your touch DNA evidence on the like button. Even if you are just watching as a troll, this can help other trolls like you find this footage so that they can troll. So, yeah, go ahead and hit the like button, even if you're just trolling. Perhaps leave a comment or share with a friend. This is not a secret club. Yeah, there were tornadoes, all of it. One of Christina's family members had a tree fall on their house. Everyone's okay, but they've got a long road ahead of them. Hey, Karen. Thank you for watching from California. They can't scoop my DNA using the red Solo cups. My Solo cups are green. I've got props for when the actual trial begins, guys. So we have 6 solo cups. I've got rubber ducks upon rubber ducks. Okay. It's going to be good. I also have, these are so cute. They're little turtle duckies. Made me so happy. Paul, thank you for watching from Australia. That's awesome. There are other means and methods if you like to support the channel in other ways. I think what I'm going to do is set some kind of like a Venmo goal. And the reason I'm going to set a Venmo goal is so that I can get a Starlink. So that the next time my local internet company gets sold out to a bigger company and they dig up the fiber optics again outside my house, it won't matter because I'll have Starlink and I'll be able to stream at high speeds no matter what. Oh, Amy, that's awesome. I had to make one. And I am visiting Mass. I made a Stop and Shop bag using an Aldi bag and a Sharpie. And then for when Robert Alessi makes his arguments. Oh, and I've got my pink nails for Karen. So I have a conducting baton for when Alessi does his little gestures. What else do I have? I have a shit ton of Post-it notes for when Rafferty gets brought up. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Starlink in NR's area is not better than fiber. Interesting. Well, I told my husband, Mr. Britt Happens, that when this new company gets up and running, we're going to give them like a month or 2 tops. If I don't feel that it's any better, we're going Starlink. Oh, awesome. I'm glad that you've got your pink on, Paul. Very, very nice. Sounds like you were ready like we are for Rocky Horror. Awesome. Well, guys, I am going to get ready for bed. I really, really appreciate everybody who tuned in, everybody who supported the channel, everybody who engaged in the chat. I don't know, Nicole. What I'm going to say is it depends on who that goes in front of, right? But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for bed. I've got work tomorrow. There are Sunday, the 6th of this month, Colleen O'Neill is coming on. We're going to get petty in pink. So put your pink on. Come back at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please make sure you set your notification on because you don't want to miss Colleen, the queen herself. So, yeah, make sure y'all come back for that. If we are in, I mean, if we're actually doing any arguments on Monday, then I will cover it live. Honest, I will. All right, peoples. Well, y'all have a good night. I will see y'all Sunday. Peace, love, and butt dials.